In today's episode, we're going to be talking about pornography. More specifically, we're going to be talking about its destructive nature. Then, we're going to talk about tips that can be used to help break free from its bondage. Let's go. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is James Howard Jr., and you're tuned in to another episode of Nuggets with Junior, where we talk about biblical and practical tips that can help make a major difference in your life. Today, we're going to be starting a series that specifically focuses on pornography. I'm not just talking about it, man, but looking at biblical and practical tips to help you get out of the bondage that pornography creates in our lives. So today we're going to specifically talk about one of the beginning tips that you need to start with if you're going to become free from pornography. And that tip is, man, you have to be real about the sin that's in your life. You have to be real. You have to be honest about the sin that's in your life, whether it's pornography, whether it is an affair, whether it is an inappropriate sexual relationship, if you're not married, whatever the case may be, man, whatever that sin is, you fill in the blank, man. We have to be real and we have to be honest about that sin. What happens is we take sin and we put it in our little box, or we put it in our little closet, and we kind of treat it like a pet. You kind of treat it like something that is cute, something that is fun, something that you pull out when you want to enjoy yourself. But all the while, it is destroying and eating away at your life. The best example I can think of, man, is a show on Netflix called Stranger Things. Now, some of you may like it, some of you may not like it. But in season 2 or chapter 2 of this Netflix series, one of the main characters, Dustin, he finds this baby Demogorgon, which is one of the main monsters of that series. He finds it in the trash can outside of his house. He sees it, and it's small and it's kind of cute. But instead of destroying it, y'all, he keeps it as a pet. And if you've seen the series, you know what happened. If you haven't, you can assume what happened is that this thing grows up to be a monster, to eat away at the lives, and that physically to eat people in this series. It wasn't anything to play with. But Dustin, in these few episodes, he kept it hidden from his friends, he kept it hidden from his mom, and he allowed it to be something that he kept to the side, y'all, and it caused much destruction in his life, y'all. And that's, like I said before, how a lot of people treat sin. We treat it as something that we try to keep away. We keep hidden from our family. We keep hidden from our wives. We keep hidden from our friendships and our relationships. But as we keep it hidden, it's eating away at every single part of our lives. And specifically, pornography, man, has that kind of effect on our lives where it eats away at us slowly. And then the next thing we know, our relationship with our family is broken. You get caught at work, and then your job is on the line. It's a lot of different things that pornography specifically can mess up in your life. But this is what we have to understand. And I think James chapter 1 verses 14 and 15 say it best when we talk specifically about sin and what it can do. And it says this. It says, temptation comes from our own desires, which entices us and drags us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions. And when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Y'all, we can't allow sin to stay in our lives. Now, don't get me wrong. Y'all, we are imperfect people. We're going to sin. It's never going to be a day where we don't mess up at some level. But it's a difference between just being a naturally sinful person and trying your best to just get better, and a person that's just sitting in it, right? A person who's hiding it. A person who keeps going back to it over and over and over again. And yes, they know they need to get rid of it, but they keep going back to it. That's the difference. And so what we have to do is we can't allow sin to be part of our lives. And this is the first step we have to take. We have to realize that this sin is real and start working towards what we need to do to get away from that. Because here's a couple more things about sin. Sin not only causes death in our relationships, causes death in our life, it causes death in so many different areas in our lives. It also exposes us. It causes shame and guilt, and then ultimately, y'all, it drives us away from God. Just think about the whole Adam and Eve and the Genesis Garden of Eden whole situation, right? Adam and Eve, they eat the forbidden fruit. They walk around naked, didn't even know it, just chilling, right? And then as soon as they ate the forbidden fruit, they were exposed. They realized, oh snap, wait a minute, right? So they put fig leaves together, cover themselves up and all this kind of stuff. So they were exposed, and it caused them shame. It caused them embarrassment. It made them feel bad because they realized that they were naked. But then not only did it cause them to be exposed, not only did it cause shame and guilt, but it also caused them to be separated from God, to the point where God is chilling in the garden, y'all. Like, he walking through the garden, God, and they hide. The God who gave you life is there with you, and you run away from him because of the guilt, because of the shame, because of the separation that sin causes in our lives. Y'all, they hid. And a lot of times, y'all, we do the same thing. So instead of being real, instead of being honest about our sin, our bondage to pornography, y'all, we hide it. We clear the history. We make sure that nobody can find out that we're doing this. It separates us, man. It keeps us away from God because we don't want to feel the conviction, or we don't want for him to be disappointed in us, or we don't want to have to deal with the guilt and the shame that may come from just being honest and being real with God about this thing. Sin has one focus, and it's to destroy and to bring death to your life. And so what we have to understand, man, is that as we're dealing with pornography, as we're dealing with whatever sin that we may have in our lives, y'all, we can't allow it to take hold in our lives. All right? So that's it. That's all I got for this episode. I try to keep these things short. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that we can go through this things together.